Hello, you fabulous listeners of Movie Musings. I'm Christina, reviewing 127 Hours, released November 2010 to American audiences. The Netflix synopsis reads, Danny Boyle, director of Slumdog Millionaire, reteams with writer Simon Beaufoy and producer Christian Coulson to tell the harrowing story of real-life mountain climber Aaron Ralston, played by James Franco, who literally cuts himself loose from danger and lived to tell about it. When sliding rock pinned his right forearm under a boulder during a climb in the Utah mountains, Ralston restored to his most basest survival instincts to stay alive. So the movie, it didn't drag. As soon as we started, it's an adventure. Actually, it starts with a very high-powered, very energetic song. And even though it's an ungodly hour of the morning, as it turns out, it looks like it's still nighttime, but it's really early, maybe 4 in the morning, that he got up to prepare to go into near the Grand Canyon, I think. It says Utah, but I'm not so sure where it was. You know what? It was Colorado, so it might have been near Utah. Anywho, so it's he meets these two girls. It's an adventure. He has an adventure with them, and then he walks away. Because it appears he likes to do these things alone, go hiking, biking, but in the extremes. This is the guy who really likes to live and do all these sports. If you hear a puppy, which you just did, that is my new 9-week-old Maltese. He needs constant supervision, therefore he is with me, watching me do these interviews and wanting me to play with him. If he can give me 5 minutes, that would be great. So he's climbing, and he tests the rocks before he leaps over them or steps over them, but apparently it was faulty. So he stepped on it, put his weight on it, and it seemed to be sturdy, but then he stepped on it again, and bam, he fell, and it was just like a little bit of a ravine. And it crushed his arm, and it was, that was kind of scary right there, because it really did trap him. You saw some blood, and you saw his hand just smashed. It wasn't, obviously it scratched because it was bloody because it got scratched. It was scraped on the way down and all that pressure, but he was literally stuck there for 127 hours, and it's kind of scary also how those conditions. He had only 1 bottle of water to survive, but how long can that last? What with however long you're going to be there, and as well as the fact that it's so hot that it's evaporating also at a constant rate, and that's all he had. He didn't have any food. Oh no, he had 1 burrito that he a to-go burrito, and that was it. He had to measure that well. It's of course, when you're in those kind of conditions, I've been lucky enough never to been in those conditions, but they really take a toll on you psychologically. So what I liked about this film is that they showed him having these fantasies. Some of them, they seemed normal. It almost seemed like this actually happened, and some of them were his memories, and some of them were just like these fantastical concoctions that he came up with, but somehow it had to do with his survival. Of course, he didn't do those. He was just thinking about them, but it was like he was starting to go crazy. And he's telling himself, "Don't lose it, Aaron. Don't lose it. Don't go crazy." But I'm wondering, how long can you hold out? It's eventually, though, as the synopsis says, I'm not ruining anything by saying that eventually he has to cut himself to free himself, because there really is no way for him to do so, to free himself otherwise. He tried to chip at the rock, but he realized that every time he got anywhere, made some progress with his little dull knife. He didn't even have a Swiss Army knife. He forgot it. He left in such a hurry. He was so eager to climb that he left it because he couldn't find it, but he didn't really put in the effort. I will say that. So anytime that he made some progress, it seemed to slide a little bit further down on his hand. So he could have probably chipped through half of it in order to get somewhere, but he wouldn't have survived had he done that. So he decides to cut it off. But remember, he's got this rusty, dull blade that isn't really going to work. So how he does it is also it's pretty graphic. I had to keep watching. I was like, it's a film, relax. But this is actually based on someone's survival story, so that's what made it a little more cringe-worthy to me. And the shots they used to show the amputation, they weren't ones that I had seen before. So it was also very simple. The shots that I was impressed by its simplicity and the fact that it got the message across, and at the same time it was so graphic. They showed like the blade going into the bone. Well, not exactly. That's not exactly what happened. It's something else that I think you should see for yourself. Not only is this a surprise element, but it's just the graphic element of it that, wow, it's really going to stay in your brain, those images. I can only imagine how he feels now, the survivor, the actual survivor, Aaron Ralston. They show him at the end of the film, him with his amputated arm, but still living his life the way he always wanted, swimming and biking and mountain climbing. He's the outdoorsy type to the fullest. This movie, I give it an A. Yeah, I give it an A. It was a very well told story. Never mind that it was a true story, which I think is good, and I'm hoping that they stayed as authentic as possible. But it was just so. Not just graphic, but it was gritty. It was like, whoa, this is what happens, urine, insects, blood, it's all a part of this story, and yeah, it really makes you wonder. Not that, okay, in my case, it's not that I would shy away from adventures like that, because they really are adventures. I just wouldn't go alone, which was his stupidity. He did that. Yes, that was stupidity on his part. He went alone and he didn't tell anyone where he was going. I would think someone with such experience would know better. Well, thank you very much for listening. I'm Christina from Movie Musings. Please come back with your own thoughts. Also, if you'd have a film that you're not sure you want us to review, Surajo or myself would be more than happy to do so. Just let us know through our YouTube channel, Movie Musings, or you can email us at christinasurajo@gmail.com, and one of us would be more than happy to fulfill your request in a timely fashion. Thank you, and cheers.